Good afternoon. I'm John Perkins with the Weekly Livestock Market Update, filling in for Megan Grebner. And we are joined by the University of Missouri, Scott Brown. Scott, how you doing on today?
I'm doing great, John, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Scott, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened in the markets this week. Another slow to develop direct cash cattle trade, but there was plenty going on otherwise.
That's correct. It's been a pretty light week thus far. I call cash fed cattle up almost $3 this week, while on the feeder cattle side, we were 1 to 6 lower this week with a lot of variability, some as low as $12 lower than the week before. The February live cattle futures contract was up nearly $1.30 this week, while the March feeder cattle futures contract closed down $2.10 for the week. On the beef side of the equation, the choice box beef price was down $1.40 this week. That still leaves choice box beef more than $6 above where we were a year ago at this time. We saw a weakness in ribs and rounds really offset some of the strength in other components of that choice box beef price. On the pork side of the equation, cash barrow and gilt prices were up nearly $1 this week, while the February lean hog futures contract closed down 70 cents. The pork cutout value was virtually unchanged this week. It still rests almost $11 below a year ago at this time. That unchanged came as bellies showed weakness relative to strength in picnics and hams this week.
All right, and Scott, then we also got consumer confidence numbers out today. What did this round of numbers tell you?
Well, it certainly is something for us to pay attention to in terms of what we got out of that report today. So those preliminary January 2019 numbers showed the overall index of consumer sentiment down 7.7% relative to where we were in December and 5.2% below year ago levels. Some of the first weakness we've seen in a while, and I think starts to give us some indication that consumers are beginning to see or be more concerned about the economic outlook going ahead here in 2019. You can see that in the data if we look a little further, in that index of consumer expectations was down 10% relative to December and down 9.3% relative to a year ago. That's not the news we need right now in terms of just what's going to be another large year of pork and beef supplies in the marketplace. We need stronger consumer demand. We'll see where we go as this report moves forward, but maybe a sign of something that we need to be watching on the domestic demand front as we move forward.
Okay, and Scott, next week we were scheduled to have several key USDA reports, the USDA's cattle and feed numbers, cold storage report, livestock slaughter numbers. That might not happen because of the shutdown, correct?
That's correct. This is going to be the first week where we're going to start to potentially miss key livestock reports. And, I think even if we talk about a government reopening sometime very quickly, I'm still not certain we can make those reports next week. And cattle on feed in particular for next Friday for me was one of the important reports. I was hoping we would be back online by then, because we know we moved a lot of calves out on wheat pasture early. I'm curious what we say in terms of placement data when we get this report, and really what's happening to those calves that were on wheat pasture. Are they going to come back and be placed here in the near term, or are we going to see that string out for the next few months? So we're going to miss some information, and I worry about where markets go with the limited public information that's available to us. But it sure looks like we're going to miss all three of those reports next week.
Well, thank you, Scott. I'm John Perkins, sitting in for Megan Grebner. This has been the Weekly Livestock Market Update.